Angela Merkel's favorable approach to China despite the state's many threats to both its own population and the international community will create a huge issue for the European Union, an expert has claimed. China's rising tensions with many countries around the world, and its own citizens, has prompted many to re-evaluate their foreign policies towards the state. However, German Chancellor Angela Merkel's refusal to do so is putting the future of the European Union on the line, according to an expert. Dr. Andreas Fulda, a senior fellow at the University of Nottingham Asia Research Institute, spoke to Express.co.uk about the risk that this approach entails. He said, "First and foremost, it's a political issue and Angela Merkel is not able, in my view, to understand the gravity of the challenge of continued one-party rule, whether it's COVID-19 or the treatment of minorities or the suppression of Hong Kong or the military threats against Taiwan. That doesn't seem to kind of register for Angela Merkel, and that is a big problem. If the German government doesn't take the threat of the CCP seriously, then, by extension, the EU will not be able to make progress in terms of developing a more coherent China policy. That, in itself, will diminish Chancellor Merkel's international standing in the long run." Dr. Fulda continued, "So in the history books, I think historians will be rather critical about her role when it comes to the challenge of China constrainment. One of the problems with Chancellor Merkel is that she's been a continuity candidate, so to speak, she's now been in power for more than 15 years. In terms of the China policy, she's been by and large following Helmut Kohl and Gerhard Schroeder, which means she's prioritized economic relations with China at the expense of other enlightened interests, for example relating to democracy and human rights. Here we have to briefly reflect on another chancellor, Helmut Schmidt, who was often praised towards the end of his life as an elder statesman." The expert added, "But his thinking on China was always quite problematic. He saw China more as a civilizational state, very much in cultural terms. He didn't really question the legitimacy of the Chinese Communist Party, which he probably saw as a guardian of Chinese culture and society. But of course the Chinese Communist Party is anything but a guardian of Chinese culture and society.